Hello, Dale. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Mark Hadley from Conscious Creatures Limited, and we turn robots into pets. Yeah, interesting question. I'm not sure there was an instant light bulb moment, but I know one period that made all the difference. I spent a lot of time looking after a friend's dog. It was a absolutely gorgeous creature. It was a husky crossbreed, northern Inuit dog. Looked amazing, and at this point, I'd already done my research into consciousness, and I had an understanding of what consciousness was and how you might implement that as an academic exercise. But the time with the dog made me realise, well, we just love the dogs. I mean, it was just lovely. Everyone loved the dogs. Yeah. The other was that with my perspective on it, I could see that actually the dog's behaviour was in some ways quite simple. It was driven by emotions, and you could analyse its behaviour like that, and it became really quite simple. I thought, well, this wouldn't be that difficult to reproduce. And the other thing that I learnt in this period is actually there's a lot of problems with having an animal as a pet. There are welfare concerns with it, and it doesn't really fit into a very busy lifestyle. My friend's dog it would often be left at times during the day. It was affecting whether they could go on holidays or what activities they could do. And it also got stressed when they were away. It was a nice sort of amusing thing to talk about, but it does just absolutely so excited when they came in the door. But when they're out the door, it was stressed. It chewed things up and that. And I thought, well, we can do better than that. And that's how I got started. Well, the key to it's in our name, Conscious Creatures. We can make them conscious, yeah? And we're the only people that know how to do that. Our pets will have emotions, they will have feelings, they will be excited to see you. This isn't just computer programming, they will be excited, but they have these emotions. And everyone knows people get very attached to their animal pets and will be reproducing that consciousness, that behaviour, those feelings. So that's what will make all the difference, I believe. It's emotions. We give our pets emotions, and it's not just a little add-on that's built into how they work. So it's not a trivial process, but that's what we do. We add emotions to the robots. I think we're going to add an element of being obstinate. Yeah, I think it will be helpful when it's really wanting to perhaps encourage their owner to do something good, like get a bit of exercise or relax a bit or whatever. It'll be wanting them to do that, and it'll maybe be a bit persistent in doing that. But it's an interesting question because actually character flaws can be quite appealing. And if you look at when robots are introduced into films, TV, cartoons, they add interest often by giving them some sort of what you might call flaws. Perhaps a nicer word is personality, but yeah. Well, our first market is probably going to be an elderly person, someone who can't have an animal themselves any longer, maybe for hygiene reasons, welfare reasons, and this will be their companion. So we think they'll bond very well with that. But from what I've seen in practice, the children just love it. Wowing with it, running around with it. Yeah, I've taken him to the park, and they've just couldn't stop. Yeah, that's a good question, and that's something that differentiates us from basically the people selling the basic robots. this is just a gadget. People that will play with it, the novelty will wear off. Our creatures are conscious. They're going to have their own needs. This is something that came out in the focus group. So I imagine our pets would be totally trouble-free. And people say, no, actually, they should have some needs. They should need your attention. They should need things from you. So that's one thing. Another thing is they'll have conversation. They'll be able to have conversations with you. And that gives a richness to their interaction and a variety to it. Tomorrow's interaction, questions, conversations will be different to the days before. Also, I'm hoping and expecting people will develop a routine. It'll be the dog waking them up, seeing them in the morning, being excited, chatting to them about their day when they've come back from work or from school or whatever, or where they're going. So I think that combination. Yeah. So in some ways it's what they get from a dog, an animal, ordinary animal, and then the conversation is a real added bonus that's now available with the technology. Well, the biggest wow is it takes about 10 seconds from when it switches on for it getting ready. So we have it crouching, prone on the ground, and then without warning, it will suddenly rise up all by itself, and suddenly you've got a dog there, and that, for most people, adults, children, is a real wow moment. They step back from it, yeah? Certainly once it starts moving, again, there's another, whoa, what's happening? And it's, you've got some expectations from it being a bit like a dog, but on the other hand, it's not a dog, and people aren't quite sure what'll happen. That's probably not symptomatic of the long-term use or behaviour, though. Those wows won't and surprises won't be there. People will be very, very comfortable with it after a short time. Well, there won't really be a difference. The hardware, they'll be conscious. So I suppose the big differences are, I would say simply, welfare and hygiene. There aren't the hygiene issues with the robo-pet. You don't worry about diseases or cleanliness. You'll be able to take one in places that wouldn't allow an animal. And the other is welfare. They will not need the same sort of looking after as an animal, and the consequences of not being around, not doing things will be far less. You would have a distressed or dying animal if there was a problem with the feeding or it being abandoned. Yeah. These will have a hibernate mode. They'll be quite content, relaxing for a week or two while you're away or on a holiday. They're much more manageable. Though I don't know quite what you meant by real, but if you mean, will they think of it as being a dog? I sort of hope not really. In some ways, having it so much like a dog, or even be called robo-dog, is perhaps a bit misleading. This is a different sort of creature, but our philosophy is to take the very best robot platforms and put the emotions onto them. And at the moment, the best one to use is it's called a robot dog, but it's a quadruped robot. It's quite uniquely different to a dog, an animal, but no less real. Well, we would be unique. We, as our creatures, are conscious. We're the only people who know how to do that at the moment. And yeah, the other people will try and mimic that. They'll try and do things that have the same behaviour, and they'll be quite attractive. They might be a bit cheaper, but ours will be the ones that are conscious, that have the feelings and the emotions. And one day I think the big tech companies will actually be buying us out. I think there's probably nothing. I'll tell you why later, but one particular thing I can see coming is comedy, humour, jokes. That will come, and that'll be just fun. And the one reason I think you won't be too surprised is, of course, robot pets are around already in the films and cartoons, and they've been doing every trick they can in those to make them more interesting and more appealing. So they've already put some perhaps surprising things in, and I'll give a couple of examples. One is Bender in Futurama. He's a bit of a deviant, he? Has addiction problems, he's a bit rude and disrespectful. He's certainly got a mind of his own, but he looks like a tin can. Yeah. Another one is the comedy Ted with the teddy bear. Yeah. And he's rude, isn't he? I mean, and that just immediate shock. Oh, it's a toy, it's a pet. Oh, it's starting to be rude. Yeah. Yeah, and it's endearing in a way, yeah, more to some people than others perhaps, yeah. Well, initially perhaps these are going to be quite expensive. These are for people that are prepared to pay quite a bit of money for something special. And at one extreme we'll be doing customised creatures for people. They'll cost the same as a customised luxury car, but the prices will go down. The markets for these are enormous. I see in the future every home in the developed world having 2 or 3 of these creatures. There'll be, because we're adding consciousness to a robot platform, and don't be misled by the simple robo-dog. We can add it to RoboVac, to aerial drones. We can have a mentor for a teenager, a companion for an old person who looks after them a bit and helps them with their crossword or whatever. A family pet, whole variation. And some are already in the home, like the RoboVacs. They are just robots, but they are autonomous. They wander around the house. As will have emotions. They'll be pleased to see you. They'll be happy to be clearing up and hoovering up. Some people have them doing the lawns and the gardens, and we can add to that. We can just add personality, emotions, so that what would be just a gadget or a machine in the house will be a lovable part of the family home. There's quite a bit of work to do, but you could have one certainly in 6 months or so if you're prepared. We're ready to take orders now for commissions. People that will work with us, we'll tailor one exactly to what they want, the form and so on, and we can start work on those. Well, we'll be starting already, but we'll put a team on that as soon as we got the first commission, so that could start quite soon. It's going to take us a few months to development before one can start to visit someone in a retirement village, for example. And for a standard product, this is a thing a lot of inventors underestimate, but we don't. Every detail has to be right before it's a standard product. So that's probably a year or more away. Oh, not at all. We're called Conscious Creatures. We can work with any robot platform. We look for ones that are really well made, that have got a good company behind them, so they're still going to be around and supported. And it's got to be a company that makes the coding open to us. But I'm really looking forward to aerial drones that will fly around you. They'll be able to talk to you face to face. They'll be able to follow you up the stairs. There's so much manoeuvrability you can have, and they're quite. We were thinking about doing those as one of our first products. They're quite light, easy to manage. They've got a certain limit to how long they could be in the Air Force. So if they were a pet, they would be, I'd call it a trinity of drones. We'd have 3 of them. They would take it in turns to be charging and talking to you and playing with each other. Work very well in a larger house with more space. So I'm after the superstar film stars for that. Yeah. But there's so much you can do with them, and it's quite interesting because it's people's expectations are not there. Like if you're doing a robo dog, they think dog, it has to behave like a dog. and it'll be better than the dog at some and not at others. But there's no sort of expectations of that. Well, we're in a market that's going to explode with variety, excitement, and capability. There's enormous things happening in robotics, from humanoid ones, doggy ones, all sorts of things, and we're not going to. And to any of those, we can add consciousness to them. We can bring them to life. We can give them emotions. What other people will be saying is just another gadget or machine in the house, albeit a capable one. These are going to be a beloved member of the family. So we think there'll be 2 or 3 of these in every home in the developed world, and they'll be part of the family. They'll be loved like people love their pets, like they love their dogs, even like they love their children. So whole range of market segments, from helping with the elderly, mentors for children, just a fun or exotic pets for the home. Any one of those segments is £1 billion market, and we're going to be there, and we're going to lead it, and we're going to be one of the biggest companies in the world. It's been my pleasure. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you enjoy what we're doing, and by all means follow us. We're trying to put out information, stories, pictures every week.